Coach Strassman here with
Jim Hart.
Cool. And I got Jim with us today because Jim is probably the best guy I know to talk about nutrition and training. So I'll let him tell you a little bit more about his background and why it is he's going to give us some information today.
Thank you, Coach Strauss. Appreciate the opportunity to talk today. My name is Jim Hart, and I've been a personal trainer since 1994. I'm also a nutrition coach and also a former chef. So my passion is both for working out and exercise, but also eating really well and enjoying food. So I try to combine those two things and bring that kind of training, both the eating and the exercise to my clients, and that is that's kind of what I've been doing, and I've been evolving now into more of the psychological side of coaching, which
so it gets in your head.
Yeah, so just like beyond calories and exercise, I think that is the most important thing, and one of the biggest things that's emerged over the last probably 5 to 7 years is that we're seeing more and more coaching programs and training for coaches like you and me to help people start with the mind and get their motivation right and find out why they might be overeating, or what are the issues that are below the surface. And that's, I think, where we've been really able to help a lot more people. I think we're going to be able to,
Okay, something.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I think I constantly hear people bring up is like I've heard some people say, I found out I have an emotional relationship with food.
Yes.
Now, is that something you hear a lot?
I do have a lot of clients who have those issues, and I do train a lot of men, a lot of older gay men, and they, in particular, seem to have a lot of those emotional eating, stress eating issues.
Sure.
But it's something that it's hard for them to talk about.
Right.
So they will, you have to sort of dig deep and look below the surface to find out what's really going on. And
it's interesting. They might be some of those people that you hear say, like, I can't give up my chocolate. I feel like when you associate my with something, you start realizing, wow, there's like something there,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, too, there's people that believe that if they diet to get to a certain weight and they look a certain way, that it'll solve a lot of their problems.
Sure.
And that's of course we know that's kind of a rabbit hole they go down, and so.
And we say, and I think again, like even to a certain thing, like a lot of times when we get motivated towards a goal, right? There's this idea that I think sometimes the anticipation of accomplishing the goal is more exciting than sometimes even when you accomplish the goal.
Oh,
which
sure.
is like a scary thing there, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's always that idea, like if I was just here, if I could just do that, and I think that
Yes.
might be it. So I think a lot of times, like we were saying, and you were saying there,
Yeah.
if somebody feels like they're going to have a certain look, all of a sudden they're just going to feel so great. But if there are other issues in life that are going on, they're still going to have those issues in life. They just might be like doing it with a six pack, which might not feel that great anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And those are the people that are more likely to gain weight back. Those are the ones, the yo-yo dieters, the people that are coming back over and over again. I call them like relapsers.
Right.
And so that's what I'm trying to do now, is work not just with calories and exercise, but work with the mind and
Cool.
habits.
So do you have a tip right off the top of your head, like if you knew somebody was saying, okay, we're looking at it right now, it's June, it's warm, maybe someone's a little behind, they might have started a diet, they might have felt like they were pretty close, and then last couple weeks haven't been great. Is there something that you would recommend to someone to kind of get back on track? Is there something that you typically recommend to jumpstart that diet again, that kind of thing?
Well, one of the most effective things is if they write down their food, and I don't know if they're working with somebody, writing down the food, I find right away makes people more conscientious about what they're going to put in their mouth.
Some of your diets look a lot better when I got you writing it down. Like,
That's right.
I don't see some of those things you were talking about, but okay.
Yeah. And they also could. A couple other things I do is to say, like, could you cut back your portions by 1/4? Like, in other words, just things you would normally eat, just like leave a quarter on the plate, or just don't eat the whole portion. that's a way to like very subtly get things moving. People that eat certain, like if they drink soda or something like that, cut the soda back. They drink alcohol, drink instead of 3 drinks, drink 1 drink. These little tiny, they're called like little tiny tweaks that you make.
Sure.
It's almost imperceptible. It's no big sacrifice, because that's people get caught up and then they have to do everything perfectly and they got to eat right and exercise, and then if they don't do that, then it's all out the window, you know.
You ever hear that? Like, I had a bad weekend, so like I didn't write any stuff down. You're like, bad week? Like, how bad? Like, did you like start on Friday night, like, you know, with like 2 pizzas and a keg, and then work from there? Like, I don't know. I just feel like when it comes down to it, like, chances are there were probably some decent meals in there. I just feel like, as you were saying, like some people feel like if they have, you know, a cheesesteak or something, like, oh, you know, I don't want to put the rest of it down. I just think at that point, putting it down kind of lets you start back from, you know, kind of start fresh again.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people always use that analogy about like if you screw up in 1 meal or 2 meals, it's like if you had a flat tire in your car. Okay, you have 1 flat tire. Instead of fixing the flat tire, you get out and go ahead and flatten all the other 3 tires and just straight, the hell with it, I'll start over again on Monday. You know, that whole like all or nothing thinking, which is really prevalent, you know, and that's what I try to get people, like, you know, eat what you like. Don't get crazy about this this whole clean eating thing. I'm not really a fan. You know, especially a lot of older guys that I work with, they seem to do better with a lot of the things they're already familiar with, and you know, that could be eating hot dogs for lunch, whatever. But if they want to lose weight, they just gotta. We work with the portions. It's the most important thing. So. And
that's interesting. So he's really playing around with the calorie numbers. You know, so you know, a lot of times I think he and I both would say that for us, we're a little bit more into the idea of like, what will the food do for us? So a little bit more of like the nutrient dense food approach.
That's right.
But at the same time, we've definitely met people who I don't think have an interest in that. For them, it's like, look, if I could just like weigh a little less, or let's be real, I've had some people actually say, can I be a little less fat? You know, in other words, they're cool with being fat. They just want to be a little less fat. You know, sometimes you look at that and you go, all right, well, they told me what they want. Like, why am I trying to change their mind? Realistically, I can look at what they have and say, okay, do a little bit less of this. Give me a little bit more conditioning here. I think you'll be fine. You know?
Clients, they know what they want. Most of the times they know what they need to do intuitively. Because I mean, who doesn't know that you know eating, you know, like a chicken breast is better than eating a donut? But what people need is somebody behind them to, you know, validate what they're trying to do, and having that support, and you know, so somebody that, like a coach, who kind of, I always call it the discovering and uncovering, like what is the best path for you. Now, my path is not going to work for you, and so
and coaches, this is a great one for you. So like, I know that a lot of the demographic on this has been coaches.